Have you ever really stopped to think about where real power comes from? I'm not talking about money or status, but that genuine personal power. Well, today, we're going to dig into a really simple idea that might just completely change how you see your own strength. So let's get right into it.
It's a huge question, isn't it? We're kind of taught to think of power as, wealth or influence, being in control of other people. But what if the greatest power, the most real power we can have, is something else entirely, something internal?
Believe it or not, the answer we're looking for might just be hiding in this simple, handwritten note. It's a pretty profound thought that completely reframes what it means to be strong.
And there it is. The most powerful person is someone who decides their self-worth is not a group decision. Wow. Just let that sit with you for a second. Not a group decision. This one single sentence, it's like a roadmap for building this incredible, unshakable inner strength. So let's really break this down.
Okay, to really get what's going on here, we have to unpack the two big ideas. What this quote means by power, and what on earth it means for your self-worth to be a group decision.
So here's the absolute key. This is not about power over other people at all. It's about the power of self-ownership. It's the strength that comes from you being the only one holding the pen that writes your own story, your own value, instead of letting the world write it for you. And that right there is a massive shift.
So, let's talk about this trap, the one that so many of us fall into. It's what the quote calls the group decision. This is what happens when we, often without even realizing it, let the outside world tell us what we're worth. Just think about it for a second. What does that actually feel like, in your day-to-day life? When you let your self-worth become a group decision, you start to see some pretty familiar patterns pop up. So does any of this sound familiar? I bet it does for a lot of us. It's that feeling, right? That constant search for approval, that pit in your stomach when you're afraid of what someone might think. Or how about this one? Measuring your own value in likes and comments. Oof. It's changing who you are just to fit in and living with that constant humming anxiety about what everyone else is thinking about you. Here's the problem. When your self-worth is a group decision, you're basically building your house on quicksand. People's opinions change. Trends come and go. People can be fickle. So if your value is tied to their approval, your sense of self is always going to be fragile. Just one nasty comment away from falling apart. Okay, so when you put them side by side, the difference is it's night and day, right? On one side, you've got the group decision. That's reactive, it's all external, totally unstable, and honestly, it's just disempowering. But then you look at the personal decision. That's proactive. It's internal, it's stable, and it is so empowering. So the real question is, how do we get from one side to the other? And that brings us to the solution, which is sitting right there in the quote itself. It's making that active, conscious choice to take back your power by making your self-worth a truly personal decision. So what does this actually mean in practice? It means you create your own internal scorecard. Your value comes from your character, your principles, your actions. It's not up for a vote. It doesn't go up or down based on whether someone on the internet likes your photo or not. And this deliberate, internal choice to validate yourself, that is what the quote is pointing to as the ultimate source of power. The moment you no longer need the group's permission to feel worthy, that's the moment you become truly free, truly resilient. All right, so this all sounds great, but how do we actually do it? Look, it's a practice, not a switch you just flip. So first, you've got to identify your core values. What truly matters to you when you strip away everyone else's opinions? Is it honesty? Kindness? Get super clear on that. Number 2, practice self-compassion. When you mess up, talk to yourself like you would a good friend, not an enemy. Third, and this is a big one, set boundaries with other people's opinions. You can hear them, sure, but you get to decide what you let in. You don't have to absorb every criticism as your reality. And finally, you have to acknowledge your own wins, big or small. You don't need a parade, just that internal nod that says, hey, I did that. Good job. So when you boil it all down, what's the big takeaway? Well, everything we've just talked about really comes down to one single personal choice that nobody else can make for you. And look at that. We're right back where we started, with this simple, powerful idea. It's just a reminder that every single day, in every moment, we have this choice. We can hand over the keys to our self-worth to the group, or we can decide to keep them firmly in our own pocket. So I'm going to leave you with that question. When it really comes down to it, when it comes to your self-worth, whose decision is it going to be? Is it the group's or is it yours? Because remember, the most powerful person is the one who decides for themselves.